The new book's title says it all. God is alive and well. And Frank Newport, head of respected pollster Gallup, has the numbers to prove it.
We have well over 90% of Americans who, in our survey questions, say they believe in God. So right there is evidence that, at least in the minds of the majority of Americans, God is quite alive.
The book's findings about the future of religion in America rest on more than 300,000 interviews conducted last year and in earlier years. Some have declared this a post-Christian age, but Newport says not according to the data.
75 up to 80% of Americans are Christian. Americans are religious and may actually be becoming more religious in the years ahead.
I think the evidence shows just the opposite.
The new leader of the Secular Coalition for America points to research showing a big difference between churchgoers and believers.
Of people who participate in religion and go every week, among the Protestants, you have about 30% that actually go and don't believe in God.
Rogers cites her own experience as a non-believer going to church events.
I went a few times as a early teen with girlfriends. I liked the social side of it, and got Coke and Lay's potato chip, things like that.
She says the number of non-theists and religiously unaffiliated has soared to almost 20%, and it's double that among the young.
There are quite a number of 10, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds that will just come out and say that they're atheists.
Newport acknowledges this growth.
We call that the rise of the nuns. Now, not N-U-S, like the flying nun or something, but N-O-N-E-S. In other words, people who say, when we say what's your religious identity, say they don't have any.
And Newport agrees faith can take a beating in many people's youth.
Age 23 is the least religious age from 18 to death.
But he says faith and church attendance pick up as Americans marry, have children, and age. And that path can lead to better health and other benefits.
Being more religious actually causes one to have higher well-being.
Newport believes as word of this gets around, it may make religion even more popular. Other reasons he sees a bright future for faith: those over 60 are simply more religious, and baby boomers are beginning a senior explosion. There's also a migration to states that are warmer and better off economically. Many are in the Bible Belt, and newcomers tend to pick up the regional culture. But Rogers looks at other Western nations and thinks America may follow them and lose its faith.
We have countries in Europe like Estonia where you only have 16% of the people in that country that believe in God.
Newport just doesn't buy it.
I wouldn't say, based on a look at all of our indicators, that we're moving into a post-religious or post-Christian era.
Now, when it comes to American politics, Newport and Rogers agree on a general truth. More religious equals Republican, non-religious equals Democrat. Rogers says of these nuns,
they are the largest, considered the largest religion within the Democratic Party.
She points to one telling event last year.
The delegates down at the Democratic Convention, they wanted no mention of God even in their platform at all.
But Newport thinks Democrats may fight harder for religious voters in the future, and points to words from President Obama at a recent prayer breakfast.
He started talking about how, in his view, religion translates into basically democratic positions on issues like equality and compassion for the poor and things like that. And that suggested to me the possibility that Democrats may begin to contest for the religious voter in the years ahead.
Rogers counters that it's still about winning, and she's seen the GOP courting the non-theist as younger people swell the unbelievers' ranks.
They're looking at the demographics, they're looking at the trend, they're seeing the growing numbers, especially under 30. And they would like to stay in business and win elections.
It all points to cross currents in politics and life here in America, where more than 90% of the people believe in God, but one of the fastest growing groups is those who have no religion at all. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.